It's fitting. I've started the women's ice hockey question, so I'll be reporter. Volleyball question, I'll be reporter
too. That is how they design it, yeah.
What creates offense?
Defense.
What creates defense?
Offense.
No, the goalie in the back of the net.
So you're crazy. I like you, but you're crazy because
At least if you're going to pick a trap game, pick the right ones.
Little fast footwork. I know your feet don't move that fast.
Brady, that's all flash, no pass. She didn't net it in the back of the net. That's not even a
What are
goal.
you doing pulling out Ryan?
Brady,
Are you ready for some debate? This Bobcat Breakdown starts right now.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Bobcat Breakdown. I'm your host, Katie Valutkevich, and alongside me are Brady Mullen and Seb Lopes. Gentlemen, how are we feeling tonight?
I'm pretty ready to go. I'm excited to see what Brady's going to throw at me. I'm pretty sure I can fight it off, so.
I'm just here to have fun and destroy Seth.
Yeah.
All right, well, with that, we're going to start off our debate on the pitch with women's soccer, defeating Ryder 2-1 on Saturday in their MAC opener. The Bobcats started with Gwen Holt in the goal and elected to put in Olivia Jarvis for the second half. Jarvis made 3 saves and secured her first career win. After seeing both of them play against the Brocs, who do you guys think should start going forward? Brady, let's kick it over to you.
Look, I think the answer is simple, Seb, and it's Gwen Hoyt. Before this year, she played 7 games in 3 years, through 2021 and 2024, and she only played 2 in 2024. And I feel like it's way too early to make a change. Look, we're 1 MAC game in, and David said that he stacks the non-conference, so these past 4 games that we've witnessed, they're against great opponents like Syracuse and LIU. So I think Jarvis looked great, don't get me wrong. She was efficient and effective in distribution after saves, but it's too early to toss in the towel on Gwen.
I'm not liking that we're agreeing straight off the bat because I'm going with Gwen Hoyt too. The same thing happened last year with Sofia Lospinoso, and we know how good she was. They play some really, really good teams in their starting games, their exhibition games. You mentioned this year it's been Hofstra, Stony Brook, Syracuse, and LIU. That doesn't help that they're playing those kinds of good teams. Last year it was Hofstra, Georgetown, and Stonehill, which set off some alarm bells. But the good thing about this is that they're already starting in the MAC, which they started off with a 2-1 win over the Ryder Bronx. And when it comes to MAC play, something just clicks for that team. Something just winds up being figured out, and they really find a way. It's the Dave Clark way. That's how I like to describe it. He finds ways to get his squad to win games. And in the case of Olivia Jarvis, it's obvious that she's going to look as good as she has when she's only played 56 minutes. The same thing happened with Gwen Hoyt, as you mentioned last year, where she played a very, very limited amount of sample time, and she looked really, really good. You're D1 for a reason. You're at a really good soccer program for a reason because you're good.
Exactly, and I can't believe we're agreeing on the first one, Seb, because I had many points to go against whatever you were going to say.
I had my rebuttal of Olivia Jarvis, and I had my points of why Gwen Hoyt is still the one to go to. So
I got faith in Gwen Hoyt, that's for sure.
I still do too.
Well, you both had some good points, including with agreeing each other. So we're going to stick on soccer, and there are multiple first years playing significant roles on both teams. Which do you think would be the most impactful? And Seb, we're going to start you off with the men's team.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a men's first year on this side. It's Sindri Sigurd-Johnson. He's had a small sample size so far, only 209 minutes, 2 shots, and no cards. He's a defender listed as a right back on the soccer site Transfer Market, and he's the only one that Eric DaCosta really seems to have put true faith in. He's played 4 games, and he started 3. The only other first year that has started a game is Sixton Carlson. So I'm really, really liking what I'm seeing out of Sindri Sigurd-Johnson so far, and it seems like Eric DaCosta really likes what he's seeing as well.
You bring up some very good points, Seb, and looking at the women's team, I'm going to have to go with Corey Anderson. Look, she has not left the field in the last 4 games. She has 439 minutes in 5 games, Seb. That's a lot of time on the field. She has 3rd most minutes on the team behind Bianca D'Onofrio and Addison Earl. So as a freshman being the 3rd most minutes on the team, obviously Dave Clark believes in her, and if Dave Clark believes in her, I don't know why I shouldn't, so I'm not going to argue with him. She had an assist last game, she started all 5 games, so I think that she's a defender and possibly could be Maddie Alves 2.0. And actually, I'm going to change my mind on that. She's going to be the first Corey Anderson.
I really, really like how Madison Alves plays for that team. She's a very, very solid defender, really gets her nose up front in the offensive production as well. It's very fun to watch, so I'm very excited for that. I just want to go back to my point about Sindri Sigurd-Johnson really quick. With the men's team, they lost TJ Wilder Jr. this year as he had left after last season, and he was the primary outside wingback, fullback for that team playing that role. With Sindri Sigurd-Johnson listed as a right back, which he has played as a defender, he could really be stepping into some really, really big shoes that needed to be filled this season. So that back line could be in good shape.
Yeah, and I think, look, there's a lot of good first years. The women's soccer team is bringing on 9 of them. So there's a lot of options. This isn't a knock at any of them, I'd like to add. Like, Audrey Lefebvre, she looks fantastic as well. But I think the one that stood out the most to me was Corey Anderson. And like I said, she hasn't left the field in 4 games. And as we see here on the screen, we have 1 point for Syracuse in a 1-1 game. And then Ryder, she also had another point, which was that assist that I talked about. So she can play defense, she can distribute the ball and get that assist point. So like I said, I'm not going to argue with Dave Clark. If he thinks she's playing well, then I agree as well.
I mean, when you're playing a full 90 minutes and you're not getting taken off the pitch, that's a really, really good sign. That means that you're doing something right. So, you like you're saying, you can't go against what Dave Clark is believing in right now.
She's also got big shoes to fill, which I should have mentioned in my first original take. Like, you have Tally Lyon, who's gone. You had Victoria Foster. Victoria Foster, there was a highlight I made last year where she plowed a Sacred Heart Pioneer. She took her down. She was a physical player. So you got big shoes to fill there, and I think Corey Anderson can do that exactly.
And that's the thing with men's soccer, with women's soccer, it's when people leave, there's shoes to fill. And once you have the first years that are showing good signs, that are getting the faith of the coaches, when you look at the minutes that they're playing and how well they're playing, especially if they're putting in offensive production, defensive production, doing something right, that's a really good sign, because the biggest issue year after year is filling in those shoes so that someone can come in and continue to help the team find success, especially if they didn't the year before or if it's a transition year, something like that.
All right. Well, with that, the men's team and the Bobcats tied 2-2 on Sunday, out shooting Yale 13-8 with 5 different players recording a shot. With 4 goals through 4 games this year, do you think the team has enough offense to make a run to the MAC championship?
I'll take this one.
All right.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Oh, no.
Look, do they only have 3 goal scorers this year in Luke Schreienbeck, Frederick Mullen, and Joey Saputo Jr.? Yes, but just like women's soccer, as we were talking earlier, they pretty much stacked the schedule so far into the season. They played number 7 Pitt. They played UMass, who was originally ranked, but was not when they faced them. So they were still receiving votes. I got faith. I got it written in my notes, all caps. I got faith. They scored 7 goals in the last 3 regular season games of 24, and they have the ability to do it again. They just need the time to get it down. Frederick Mullen tied for the 2nd most goals on the team last year. He'll continue to grow as a 2nd year, so watch out for him. And then Luke Schreienbeck also finished with 3 goals last year and already has 2 starting off his senior year. They have 18 returners, including 7 of their top 10 scorers. All this team needs is to get hot.
I really think that there's some issues here. It's been an issue since last season, talking about the offensive production from the established wingers and strikers on this squad. They really, really struggle to put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what you need to do in order to have offensive success. You mentioned 4 total goals scored so far this season, 2 of them from Luke Schreienbeck, 1 of them from Frederick Mullen. The only established forward to score a goal, Joey Saputo Jr. That's an issue when your defense is scoring more goals than your forwards. This was a problem last season as well. Paul Messias didn't score a goal. Joey Saputo Jr., a person that they brought in to score goals, to be a striker, scored 1 goal all season. Juan Hernandez scored 1. Granted, he was still young. He's going to be a bigger role this year. William Holm, another one, an established striker. I still believe in him, but he only scored 3 goals last season. Montessarin scored 3. He had a big part towards the end of the season. And I just looked back at the games last season. It was a 5-1 win over CCSU and a 9-0 win over a D3 squad, Farmingdale State College. Those were the 2 games that the men's soccer team really found offense. And guess what happened in those 2 games?
Please tell me, Seb.
William Holm scored 2 of his total of 3 goals last season in that game. That's an issue when one of your established strikers is only scoring in the game where you're actually getting offense. How about the games across the schedule where you need the offense to be stepping in?
I get what you're saying. Look, I get what you're saying. Look. I'm not going to argue with you on those points. You bring up some very good ones, especially that last one with the 2 goals versus the D3 team. But look, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the present, Seb. And, well, actually, I'm going to talk about the past right now. I think that at the end of the year last year, when they made the run to get into the MAC playoffs, that really lit a fire. And it was like, we can actually do this. And I can't speak for the team, obviously. I'm just speaking that as an outsider. But I feel like if I was on the team, that's lighting a fire under me. And knowing that we have that potential to be able to do it, I wouldn't want to back down on this team. And maybe it hasn't been the best start so far, or maybe it wasn't also the best season last year, but you can't think about last season. You just got to think about what you can turn this season into.
You have to look at the seasons before. 31 total goals last season. 12 of them were from forwards. 19 of them were from midfielders and defenders. That's an issue.
Those are amazing points. Same for you, Brady. But unfortunately, we have to head into our first commercial break. And when we return, we will have fellow beat reporters give us their hot takes, and you won't want to miss it.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. Fall sports are in full swing, which means there are plenty of conversations to be had. Let's hear from some of our fall beat reporters, starting off with women's soccer beat reporter Patrick Walsh.
Thanks, guys. Melita Bronco currently leads the women's soccer team with 2 goals on the early season, including a game-tying goal Saturday against Ryder. My hot take is that she will continue to lead the team in scoring at the year's end. What do you guys think?
Seb, if you don't mind, as my fellow beat reporter, I'm going to go ahead and take this one from Patty.
Take it.
I don't think that's ridiculous to say at all. The top 3 goal scorers from last year are gone, so someone has to fill those shoes. And Melina Bronco, like Patty just said, 2 goals, and where we're at already, she's leading the team in goals. And I don't see why she couldn't do it. I mean, I could also see Clara Benson or Morgan Kupo being the one, but I think overall that's not a ridiculous thing to say.
I really think it's going to be Morgan Kupo this year. My hot take was Madison Alves. For some reason, whenever I look at the score sheet, she's always in there somewhere. And like I mentioned during your debate, she always has offensive production for something, even for a defender. But I think Morgan Kupo is really going to be the one to look forward to. Courtney Chokel's gone, so Morgan Kupo is now going to really get a big sample size of those minutes. And it's something that we talked about last season. Looking forward to this season was with Courtney Chokel in her final season, would Morgan Kupo be able to kind of step up?
All right, well, next up, we have men's soccer beat reporter Becca Calkins.
Yeah, guys, the men's soccer team is off to a slow start, but I think they are going to not only make the MAC tournament, but win a MAC tournament game. What do you think?
I'm going to take this one as the men's
Please,
soccer beat reporter.
take the wheel.
I think they are going to win a playoff game.
Okay.
I don't know what you. I hope you weren't thinking that I don't think that they have
No, not at all.
anything good for them going this season. They do. They're just not going to make a championship run at all. They're not going to make a final. That's kind of my take. Last season, they were 2 inches away from a playoff win. If those goals were just a little bit wider, that one was across the line in the dying seconds, and they would have won a game. I think this year could be the year.
You should make a petition for those wider goals. But yeah, I can't really disagree with this one, or else I'd be disagreeing with myself. I said they're going to make the MAC championship, so if I don't think that they're going to win a game, there's some slight issues in my head right there. So yeah, I totally agree with Beckett here, and we'll see what happens.
All right, well, switching over to field hockey, we have Olivia Gruber here to talk about one of Quebec's most surprising teams thus far.
Thanks, Katie. With the Quinnipiac field hockey team off to a positive start, going 3-1 so far in the season, I believe that this team will make the Big East tournament for the first time in program history.
Seb, I insist.
There's a lot of buzz around student media in Hamden right now about this field hockey teams. They're way better than they were last year. 3-1 to start. It's very early. Yes, 2-16 last season. I'm gonna hop on the train. I'm gonna get a choo-choo train going. I believe that this team might make their first ever Big East tournament.
Well, look, Seb, you can drive the train. I'll be the conductor on the caboose because I'm fully agreeing
Let's
with
go.
this. I'm all in
Let's
on
go.
field hockey, Seb.
Let's go.
So, look.
The buzz continues.
I'm glad that you're in the buzz, even though I had to tell you who was in the Big East before we got into
No,
this.
no, that was all jokes.
I think that field hockey has an amazing chance, and we'll get into this a little bit later. So I don't want to pull away from that. So
Yeah.
let's go on to the next.
All right, well, now we're going to take this train over to the court, and we're going to hear from our volleyball beat reporter, Anthony Rossi.
Thanks, Katie. Got a little bit of a long-winded take here, but we're going to turn up the heat. I think that the first years this year on the volleyball team will have the same impact as the first years did when Quinnipiac won the MAC championship back in 2022. That means that the seniors this year, when they were first years, the first years this year are going to have the same impact as them.
You want to take this one?
Yeah, I would love to. So I was a little confused when Rossi first asked this question, but I think I'm understanding it more now.
I think I do too.
I'm going to say no, because the players he's talking about, Damla Ganesh, Yammer Ganesh, Ginevra Joe Vagioni, they're still on the team. So those spots are still being filled. So I don't know when the freshmen would fully have moments where they can shine when these players aren't being taken off the court.
I'm going to agree. No, the seniors right now, like you're saying, they're definitely going to play a bigger role than the first years right now are going to play. But I also look at it in the way of the hockey season last season. There was a lot of youngsters and there was a lot of learning curves, a lot of mistakes made that really led to those learning curves. So I think that's going to happen again with these first years.
And I also think that this team right now, I don't want to cause any problems, but I don't think they're going to win the MAC championship this year.
No.
I think Fairfield is too much of a dominant force. And speaking of the team in 2022, when they did win that and these players were first years, I don't think it's that same team. I think they had more firepower, and I also think that plays into it.
All right, well, now we're going to finish things off with our rugby beat reporter, Zach Stokinger. What do you have for us, Zach?
Thanks, guys. The Quinnipiac rugby team started its season 1-1. Head coach Becky Carlson has 95 career wins after that victory on Saturday. There's 6 games left in the season, and I think that head coach Becky Carlson will get her 100th career win this season.
I'm interested to hear what you're going to say, but at 95 wins right now, the team has 6 more games to play this season. I don't think so. I think it's going to go to 99 wins. One win shy. They're going to go 4-2. Those 2 losses are going to come from Navy and Sacred Heart because they are struggling against the good teams right now. And they've also lost.
They destroyed Navy last year, 38-3.
Okay, but they've also lost some really huge key pieces from last season. I really think that they're not going to do it.
And they filled the shoes, something you talked about earlier. They filled the shoes.
I
of those
don't
players
think
that
so.
They lost.
4-2.
I think they're going 6-0.
4-2.
6-0. She's getting a 1-0-1 like the Dalmatians movie. Now look, there's only one game I have concern about, and that would be Queens because they've never faced them before. But other than that, I think they're going 6-0, and Coach Carlson is going to get that 1-0-1, like I said.
4-2.
Well, we will see as the season goes on, and those were a lot of hot takes, guys. So I think we should take our next commercial break of the night, and when we come back, we will be talking about field hockey and the exciting start to the season. So stick around.
Oh, right. Look at you taking the stairs. Who are you?
We're your lungs. We are proud of you for quitting smoking, but you still may be at risk for lung cancer.
A routine cancer scan can detect it early when it's more curable. Good to know. Well, I gotta go somewhere.
So do we.
Listen to your lungs. Get a routine screening that could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes.
Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right?
I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own.
And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me.
When And you realize that you're not alone. Once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. If you are just joining us, I'm Katie Valutkevich alongside Brady Mullen and Seb Lopes. We had a couple of home games here on campus, and QBSN is here to show us the best shots from this weekend. Let's continue with the debate. One team that wasn't home this weekend was field hockey. They've already surpassed their win total from last year in just 4 games. What aspect of this team has stood out to you the most this year? Let's start with you.
The aspect that stood out to me, the midfield. So we mentioned how good they are so far, 3-1 already, 2-16 season last year. 9 out of 10 goals have come from the midfield, and just like in soccer, being able to hold the ball in the midfield opens up the lanes and spaces that are critical to those passes that you need in order to create those offensive opportunities. And being in the midfield also helps out defensively. You have to get back, you have to track back and be that defensive presence back there so that you can stop the goals.
Notice how you keep saying defense right there, Seven. I think defense wins championships, if anything. So I think defense has really just improved the most and shined the most throughout these 4 games. And I'm not talking about just Cristina Torres. Yes, she's been wonderful in goal, but the first 4 games in 2024, they gave up 66 shots on goals. That's a lot, Seb. How many have they had so far this year? You don't know. It's been 22 shots on goal this year. That is a 1/4 difference. You say you're a big numbers guy. There's numbers for you. And let's look at fouls as well. They've had 86 less fouls than they have 86 fouls this year so far through 4 games, and last year they had 122 through 4 games. Seb, another numbers for you. I don't want you to get confused here, but that's a big difference. I think key returner, Katie Shanahan, Micah Van Wensen, a key first-year defender. They're making a fantastic impact so far, and I think it's the defense more than the midfield.
Hey Brady, let's not forget, I'm a finance major. I love those numbers. I love to play with math, all right? 6 out of 10 of the total assists on this team come from the midfield. 3 goals and 3 assists for 9 points this season from Francisca Escoyes. She is a key part to this team on the midfield, defensive and offensively.
All right, well now it is time for our final commercial break of the night, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will be giving our final roars. Viewer discretion is advised. The next segment is mention of mental health and contains content about suicide, so stay tuned.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/act now.
My name's Stacy, I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020. One teen can come in and make you look at life in a whole different way.
You know, he's my father, so I look up to him a lot. If I can be 10% of the man he is, I'll be a happy person for sure.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing we do to keep us focused.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game?
To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health.
Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health.
Find the resources you need to keep your mental health a priority.
Love your mind.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. It is time for our final roars. I'll start us off. Before the school year started, I was thinking about what I wanted to accomplish this year, whether it was in my personal life or within student media. I knew what goals I wanted to set for myself, and so many others here are doing the same. Since coming to Quinnipiac, I knew I wanted to be in sports and that I wanted to report on the teams. That was a goal I set for myself, and I went after it. I got to beat report on the women's ice hockey team my freshman year and the acrobatics and tumbling team the following year, and both have been amazing experiences. I strive to improve myself and also prove that I am a good reporter. So my advice to anyone wanting to get something is to go for it. Put yourself out there and go after your goals. It can get frustrating and hard at times, but if you are really passionate about something, you'll work hard for it and you will be happy you did. Even now as a junior, I want to improve myself constantly, and seeing how much I've done in my first 3 years is amazing to see and look back on. The experiences I've had so far have been the highlight of my time here, and I can't wait to see what is ahead in the future.
If there's one message I can give anyone in need of advice, it's 3 simple words. Take every opportunity. It's not original. My parents have drilled it into me for years, and boy has it paid off. I'm just a kid from a small town called Sparta, New Jersey, who's already checked off dream after dream. From beat reporting on my first love, soccer, to being part of the NCAA Allentown Regional men's hockey coverage. The opportunities I've had weren't handed to me. They came through time, practice, and doing the small things. Showing up ready to learn, staying late, offering help, and saying yes even when I wasn't 100% ready. Because of that, many doors opened. Play-by-play commentary for soccer and lacrosse, covering road men's hockey games, a playoff lacrosse game at Siena, color commentary for CT Ice, and much more. This summer, that process led me to the biggest step yet, an internship with my local baseball team, the Sussex County Miners. In that professional environment, I was part of the team behind the scenes, growing by gaining experience in play-by-play calls, camera work, and stat tracking. So if there's one thing to take from my story, it's this. Don't wait for opportunities to be handed to you, and don't talk yourself out of them because they seem too big or scary. Say yes. Take the leap. You will figure it out along the way. Opportunities don't always knock. Sometimes they whisper, and you've got to be ready to listen. The dreams I've chased came because I kept showing up even when it was uncomfortable or I was tired. That's where growth happens, in the unknown, in the challenge. Take the risk, embrace the challenge, take every opportunity, roar loud, and roar proud.
In high school, I had this one football teammate. Let's call him Jay. Now, Jay was a great kid and one of a kind. He was always making us laugh and always had a smile on his face. He would insist on doing summer workouts barefoot, despite it being summer, obviously, and on turf. He was awesome. Unfortunately, Jay took his own life on August 24th. September is Suicide Prevention Month. From an athlete perspective, it can be hard to talk about mental health. Instead, just put your head down, play your sport. After all, you should be lucky you get to play it at all, right? No. No matter the level, there is an extreme amount of pressure that comes from sports, and that pressure can have a major impact on an athlete's mental health. It is important that athletes feel comfortable speaking up and teams check up on their teammates. Meanwhile, as fans, we are quick to fill with anger after our favorite player messes up or doesn't perform well, or we just want to yell at the opposing team. Yet at the end of the day, they're human. In a 2024 NCAA study, they found that 1 in every 3 star athletes received threats, including death threats. Now, I know this is a sports show, so I've focused on athletes, but mental health is important no matter what. And it's frustrating that it has to be a certain month for people to really talk about it. There's a lot more I want to say, but I only have so much time. So if there's anything you take away from this, check up on your friends and let them know you care. There are free counseling resources available on campus, and you can call the Suicide Lifeline at 988 to speak to a counselor 24/7. And lastly, Jay, I miss you, man.